Okay. Has it gone live?
Yeah.
Okay. Has it gone live?
Yes. Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay, so we're just gonna start now. What's good?
Yep.
Oh, no. Start. Over to you. What's good? Okay, so we're just gonna start now. I think someone is logged on by the side. So
yeah, someone which their life.
All right. Your friend has it joined?
So we can start. This one is later. I think someone is
Okay.
logged on by the side. So
Yeah, someone which yeah.
I think I can hear echo from someone.
yeah, I think it's
Your friend has it joined?
Yeah. So we can start.
Okay. Can you hear me now? I think I can hear echo.
I think okay. I think there's another device that someone is logged on to.
Close by.
Yeah, you need to mute the other device and leave this one on mute. That's why we are having the echo.
I think I can hear echo.
I think okay. I think there's another device.
Close by.
Yeah, you need to mute the other device and leave this one on mute. That's why we are having echo. I think I can hear echo. I think okay.
Close by.
Where is that coming from? Okay, I think it's better now.
I think we should start.
Yeah, we can. Well, I don't know whose device is echoing.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you all, my brothers and my sisters here in the UK, everywhere around the world.
I don't know whose device is echoing.
All Nigeria, right. Wherever you're listening to us from. Thank you all. We want to thank you for joining us this evening. My brothers and my sisters here in the UK, everywhere around the world.
I don't know whose device is echoing.
All Nigeria, I can hear myself, and I don't think it's. We want to thank you for joining us this evening, my brothers and my sisters.
Okay.
Here in the UK,
I think the internet connection is messing up from.
I think maybe you should end it and start again.
I think it's from you, Daniel.
Is it?
You logged on from your phone and your.
No, I'm logged on the system. Just on the system.
But is your Facebook on the background running?
Eh?
Is your Facebook running on the background? Because there could be interference.
Yeah, I think that's
yes.
Why.
So yeah, mute that one.
Maybe you should turn it off. I think that's why.
Okay.
Yeah, let's turn that one off. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, it's turned off now. Let me see.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right now.
Yeah, we're good to go.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, guys. I quickly want to introduce us. We are members of Nigerian Diaspora Network, UK chapter, and the idea behind this organization is how can we make Nigeria a better country for ourselves? What can we do? What can we contribute? In what way can we individuals, what can we do to make Nigeria the country that we've always dreamed about? Now, this is where we all come in. We are people who often ask, what has government done? What is government doing? One question we've never asked ourselves is, what are we doing? What am I doing? And this is where Nigeria Diaspora Network comes in. We are a group of professionals who live outside Nigeria, coming together without being bankrolled by anyone, not by government, not by any individual, but by ourselves. And we've decided that, okay, how can we do, what can we do to say that we contribute to a better Nigeria? It is on that premise that we say, okay, you know what? If we don't have money to give, if we don't have it, well, at least we have our voices to give out. And that is why we've decided that every fortnight we'll always come and chart a course and chart a way forward, discuss a topic. How can we enlighten ourselves? In what way? What are those issues that is affecting Nigeria that we can talk about? And in what way can we bring our experiences, having lived outside Nigeria for over a decade? You know, what have we learned in some of these countries that we've lived or we've traveled to? How can we replicate some of these good things, you know, that we've seen? That is the idea behind Nigeria Diaspora Network. You know, about 2 weeks ago, we talked about Nigeria's the insecurity in Nigeria. A week before that time, we discussed the same topic, and 2 weeks ago, we talked about community policing. In what way can Nigeria employ the services of other Nigerians, other people, local people, you know, to curb the insecurity in Nigeria, you know? And that is the topic we discussed about 2 weeks ago. And today we are talking about youth involvement in Nigeria. Everywhere around the world, we've always heard about the youth, the children are the future, the leaders of tomorrow. And we've come to realize that in our case, in the case of Nigeria, the youth are being relegated to the background. The youth are used in a way that it looks as if there is no future for the youth, basically, And that's why we thought, like, this should be a topic we should talk about this evening, And before we say anything further, I would like the rest of us to introduce ourselves. My name is Ofodane Lokpanachi. I am a member and one of the founders of Nigerian Diaspora Network. And my other colleagues will introduce themselves.
All right. Thank you for that, Daniel. My name is Deji Adebayo, and I'm one of the coordinators as well. And over to you, Dr. Aminu. And
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Aminu Amadu. I'm one of the founding coordinators of Nigeria Diaspora Network UK branch. Glad to have you all today. You're muted.
I think you're muted.
Yes, and my name is Lawal.
The voice is gone.
I think your voice or volume.
Yeah, it's gone.
I think it's the volume of your device. We heard Leia Lawa, but we didn't hear the rest.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you clearly, loud and clear.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Leia Lawal, and I'm invited to join.
Okay. I think I heard you have been invited to join. Yeah, I think I heard
yes.
that. Yeah, because it was just breaking a little bit. Yeah. So
sorry, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I think it was just breaking. Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure if you're on Oscar still, or should we just carry on?
Yeah, please.
Okay, yeah. So just like my brother Oscar said, sometimes I don't even know, maybe I should say Oscar or Daniel. It's whichever one comes to my mind.
Yeah, Oscar is cool.
Oscar, yeah. Just like my brother Oscar said, in order not to talk too much about NDN, that's what we stand for, professionals coming together just to see how we can contribute, when it comes to our dear country, Nigeria. So what we're talking about today is youth involvement in Nigeria. So we have our invited guests. They're going to be joining soon. But before they come online, I think we should start talking about, I'm sure when it comes to talking about youth involvement, it's something that we are well aware of because we are youth as well. So to start with, youth involvement in Nigerian politics, let me just say just a brief understanding that I have regarding this. I think in our dear country, Nigeria, youth are not really involved the way they should have been. That's my own personal opinion. And I know there are many factors why youth are not really involved. It's not that the youth are not interested, but when it comes to godfatherism, that's one of it. When it comes to, you have to be financially sound. My understanding is that even if you want to contest for any political post, you need to buy a form, which is not cheap. So some of the factors, I don't know, maybe that's why most of the youth are not really involved. And I think it's very easy this is my own opinion, and I used to sound like this. Oh yeah, I don't care about politics, because, the elders are there anyway. They will not allow us to get involved, so I don't care. But I came to the understanding that if everybody keeps talking like that, there won't be any way forward for our dear country, Nigeria. So you can't be sitting on the fence and be abusing the ones in power. It's either you get involved or you keep quiet. So when it comes to the youth, and I came up with some analysis today, I'll just read it just in, and let me just summarize. I think I read an article today, someone talking about Obafemi Awolowo, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Ahmadu Bello. These guys were in their youth when they took over. They assisted in ensuring that we are not under the colonial rule anymore. When this happened, they were youth. They were in charge. So what is going on today? Why is it that the youth have been silenced, or the youth silenced themselves? I don't know maybe which one to use between the two. So on that basis, that's what I think maybe we should start with that first. And hopefully our guests will come on board as we go on. So let me start with Dr. Aminu. and this is my personally, because we have to wait for our guests to come, but we can just carry on. Why do you think the youth have been silenced, or the youth are the ones silencing themselves? Let's start with that, Dr. Aminu.
Thank you very much, Deji. I'm smiling because when we were much younger, when we line up there's this thing they call their morning assembly. You usually have that in the morning before we go to classes. And when we have like the principal or the headmaster or the head teachers at that time in primary school, they'll come to us and say, children, you are the leaders of tomorrow. And it felt really good. We thought, oh, there's a lot of things for us to look forward to. Well, I'm a full-grown man, and yet we don't even have a chance yet. So I will personally think it's not that the youths are not interested in politics, so to speak. But I think we have been ruled by kind of cabals in Nigeria, because if you notice, when the likes of Gowon, they were in their 30s when they took over power. But if you check, fast track, go back into the past, you find that it's still the same people that are still in power up to their 80s. Some even want to die in power. So when you go to political parties, you see the youth leaders, they're in their 60s. You'll be wondering, when are the young ones ever going to have the time? When would our time come? Some of them even campaigning that one of the bases is that he's too young, so they don't have experience. We've actually equated experience with age. But things are fast moving. Like if you come to the UK, the rest of the world, people in their 40s, they're already prime ministers and their ministers are in their 30s and they're doing a massive, amazing job. The time that we have involved the youth is mainly in toggery, political talks. That's what they employ them for. So like you mentioned earlier, if I have to pick up on what you say, the financial capacity ability is one of the factors. So because these people have been in power for way too long, they have that financial muscle to be able to purchase, to canvass for people, to pay people to come and vote. So that leaves the young world with no space. And we have this syndrome that, according to Mandela, I say sit tight syndrome. When an African man is in power, they never ever want to leave. They want to die in that seat. So for that reason, you find out that even the young ones, when they're trying to struggle to get into power, they don't find it easy, and their opinion don't really count, because he who controls the money controls the people. So, and that's one of the reasons why we're where we're at. But these days, that's why we have things like this Nigerian Diaspora Network. We need to let people understand that, look, we can actually take this power ourselves. We need to start spreading the messages that the young ones can actually do a lot more, because we've had like ministers for information and everything. Some people cannot even operate iPads or laptops, but they're in charge of communications and Nigeria and stuff. You'll be wondering, what did we do wrong? So until we begin to see that we can actually make that impact, begin to model people in different countries and see the young ones can actually do. But on that as well, one of the reasons that some of the young ones that have been given opportunity, they messed the whole thing up. Like if I have to refer to my own governor, Kogi State, where I'm from, I think he turned 40 in that seat, but we can tell that what he's done is really, he's made a mess out of the thing. Look at the likes of Dino Melai, they go into power very young. Wow, they make a mess out of it. So even the little chance we have for us to showcase our ability, we mess it all up. So without taking much time, I think these are one of the few factors that have led to that. But this is just the problem, but I'm sure we'll talk about the solution, because we are solution-based here, not about highlighting the problem, but you can't talk about the solution without talking about the cause. Thank you very much, Joji.
Thanks for that, Dr. Aminu. Over to you, Daniel.
Thank you very much, Aminu. I mean, I can't even agree with you any less, to be honest. When we talk about youth involvement in Nigerian politics, me personally, it's a topic that affects me so badly, and it's a topic that disturbs me so much. You know, when we decided to have this conversation around youth involvement in Nigerian politics, I tried to cast my mind back to, since we've been hearing about Vision 2010. I heard about Vision 2010 when I was in primary school, and that was a long time now, I must say. That was in the 80s. Then 2010 looks like forever to me. Not just that, while we were being told about Vision 2010, we're also being told that we were the leaders of that they were trying to build that period for. In other words, we're trying to create a platform for us, for us to come and take over, the mantle of leadership in Nigeria. We're full of excitement, we're full of hopes, and we're full of expectations, but as time goes on, as we grow older, those promises, they become like a mirage, what I mean by mirage is a mirage is something that you're seeing it afar, but as you get closer to it, it keeps disappearing, so it becomes like a mirage basically. And then I try as much as possible to ask myself, what is really, really, really going on? I'm going to differ a bit from my brother, Amino, that says, if you look at it, those who have been in power right from the 80s and or 70s are the ones still in power up till today. I'm indifferent with that, to be honest. I'm going to disagree a little bit. I'll disagree because in 1999 specifically, when Nigeria returned to democratical country again, you might shock all of you to note that 90% of the governors we had in 1999, they were all in their 40s. Some of them were not even up to 40. 90%. Some of them were not up to their 40s, and some of them were in their early 40s. In other words, they had the opportunity. And when we're talking about youth bracket, the age bracket for youth is still up to 45, even up to 50. You can still be considered as youth in terms of in African settings, So in other words, we had opportunity, youth had the opportunity as early as even though it looks like it was late, in 1999, we had all this vibrant youth in terms of power, in that corridor of power, with so much power in their hands that would have been able to turn things around. Would I say they met expectation? I'll be wrong to say yes. Between 1999 to 2007 and 2007 and now, is gone even so worse. Now, did the youth in Nigeria have the opportunity to turn things around? I will say yes. But was the opportunity given to youth enough? I will say no. I would say no in the sense that there are a lot of youths who I believe personally have the capacity, to deliver in Nigeria. Those youths do not have what it takes. Those youths do not have the resources. Those youths do not have the platform to get to that position of power. I'll use my state as an example. In between 1999 to 2007, there was a particular man called Alhaji Nuhu Audu. No, Audu was a man full of vision, a man full of everything you know a state will need to progress. But he did not have the resources, he did not have the money, and he did not have the godfathers to back him. He was never Kogi State governor. The same 1999 to 2007 was the same year that James Ibori absconded from the UK back to Nigeria, having worked as a salesman in weeks here in the UK. He did not run to Nigeria on his own. He committed fraud here in the UK. He was arrested, charged. He escaped, ran back to Nigeria. And because he had the godfathers, he became a governor in Nigeria. And that was the same period where a man who has a clean record could not become a governor. So what am I trying to say? The youth who have the capacity, who have what it takes to become a leader in Nigeria, a lot of barriers, a lot of stumbling blocks have been designed to stop them. So, and this is why we have not been able to have our best brains in power. This is why it's not been possible for Nigeria to get to the height that it should get to, because those who should be in power do not have what it takes to get to power. Those who should not dare get near to anything called power are the ones in power, because they have the link, they have the connection, they have everything it takes. And an average Nigerian politician will always sponsor or always support someone whom they can control, whom they can say, sit down, and he will sit down. So with those barriers put in place, it is always going to be difficult for youth to get involved in Nigerian politics. Having said that, should Nigeria's youth give up? No, I will say no. Should they, because of the barrier put before them, stop this dream, kill their desires to serve Nigeria? I will say no. In my language, they will always say that if you're consistent and you persist, you will always get it done. If you don't want to get it done, you will always find excuse. But when you want to get it done, you will always find a way. I'll leave it there for my next brother.
Thank you so much for that. That was very insightful.
And please, before you come in, I quickly want to introduce my brother. I'll call him a brother and a friend, Ugo Chigozie. Ugo Chigozie is currently in the Netherlands. I mean, Ugo Chigozie is someone who has got so. Sorry, Ugo, are you there? Let me be sure you are there actually. Hello, Ugo, can you hear me? Okay, I think he's muted. Okay, I'll wait for you to come in. And when you come, please let me know when you are there so that I can introduce you properly. So Did you can take it over from there.
Okay, thank you for that, Rosquare. Yeah, so that was very insightful, because I mean it's such very unfortunate, because youth are just the future leader. You know, that's the normal saying, but it doesn't come across to us like that in our dear country. But just like what we stand for, one of the things we stand for, we just want to focus more on the solutions. But there's no way you talk about the solution. You have to mention the issues first, even if it's briefly. So I would like to introduce one of our guests for today. He just joined in now. And let me just introduce for a minute or so, then we would allow our guests to talk. So our guest today is Bode Adeleke. Bode Adeleke has been a long-time, friend of mine, way back in Nigeria, and we are still very good friends. So Bode Adeleke is an assistant commandant in the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. I think that's the equivalent of Assistant Commissioner of Police. So we all know what NSCDC stands for. They had a sister agency in Nigeria. They are a paramilitary institution in Nigeria that is saddled with the responsibility to provide measures against threats and any form of attack. So Bode Adeleke belongs to the professional body Society for Peace Studies and Practice, Nigerian Computer Society, and Computer Professional Registration Council of Nigeria. So in order not to talk too much, we are privileged to have you here with us tonight, ACP Bode Adeleke. So I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear us? I think you're muted. We can't really hear you. Maybe you should turn on the volume of your device. Okay, I think we just, let's, I've done a little bit of introduction. So ACP Bode, we'll just wait for you to come on, but we'll wait for you. Let's just carry on. Once your sound is okay, then you can let us know. So thanks for joining us tonight. Thank you. I think, yes, so I think we should just carry on for now. So when Dr. Aminu, when you were talking, I think I noted down one or two questions, and even Daniel as well. But let me start with Aminu. Now, you said something about equating experience with age. Yeah, you mentioned something like that. So my question goes to you, like, how important is mentoring from older politicians? Or let me be nice, let me say matured politicians. So how important is mentoring when it comes to youth involvement in politics without godfatherism coming into play?
Well, thank you very much for that. Just to add to something that Osquare highlighted earlier, you said the youth actually had the opportunity in 1999. That's true, but there was a reason for that, because if you notice, those youth that were involved were all fronted by the godfathers. And that was because people were not very sure if the military were actually going to hand over. And that is where we had all sorts of unruly people like Ibori and the rest getting opportunity into power. But to react to your question, to respond, mentoring is very important, because experience, like they say, is the best teacher. And there's no one that can live long enough to experience everything and be their own teacher. So we do need these old politicians, because they have walked the path. They can mentor the younger generation, but they don't have to do it. But in this case, what we have as mentors are kind of godfathers who want you to always give them a fraction of the state treasury or whatever you're getting as a budget. Because we can remember one time, the likes of Adedibu that had a problem with this governor, is he his name?
Hello?
And he said,
okay, yeah, we can hear you now. We'll come back to you, Bode.
We are muted.
Thank you.
Okay, and he was clearly claiming that he's entitled to 1/3 of the budget the governor was getting. So in this case, you wouldn't really look at it as mentoring. It's about personal gains and interest. So, but if they can take the backseat as mentors, the younger generation, we are willing to learn from them and our own experience, then we can get ourselves somewhere. So mentorship is highly recommended. It cannot be overemphasized, but it has to be done properly. I don't know if that answers your question. Thank you.
Yeah, it has to be done properly. I think so, but it's just that I'm just trying to differentiate how we can get godfatherism out of mentoring. I don't know. In our dear country like Nigeria, I don't know if that would work, but there's nothing.
when we start schooling them for them to understand the difference, because godfathers is never the same thing as mentoring.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know. So we don't know that, but yeah. So that was my question for you. But thank you for the way you answered it. Over to Daniel. When we were talking the other time, you said, could it be that they were still in line with what we used? Okay, now you spoke about 1999, and I think Dr. Amin just touched on that. That 90% of the governors in power, they were youth. Could it be that because of the constitution, we were still fresh into democracy? There was no taste of power. There was no taste of corruption, as we call it. So hence the reason why transitioning from military to democracy, we're still able to stick to what we used to know. But as we get along, and because of democracy, they started tasting power. That, wow. So it was time for some people to leave, for that youth to come in, but they don't want to leave because we are now practicing democracy. It's not military. Would that be the reason why we had 90% of governors, 1999? But if we are talking about governors today, we still have some youth, but it's something that we can easily count them. So could it be because we were just transitioning into democracy then, but now it seems like we are not matured enough for democracy? Do you think that's what the problem is?
Yeah, you know what? This is the thing. I feel like as at night. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, yeah, sorry. This is the thing. I feel like in 1999 was an opportunity in our hand that we never used. It was a period of uncertainty whether Nigeria was going to actually, whether the military were actually going to hand over power or not. You know, even though Abdul Salam, who was the then head of state, gave his words that he was going to hand over power, and to keep to his words, you know, a new constitution was drafted and everything, and all sort of that. Political parties were allowed to form, you know, state local government elections and all that were carried out and everything. So I feel like 1999 was a great chance, a great opportunity in our hand. Like I said earlier, we had 90%, I've done my research, 90% of the youth in 1999, of the governors in 1999 were all youth, as in like youth, you know, who when I talk about youth, I'm talking about youth that had their own professions at the time, not the kind of youth that we even have now, you know, because what we have currently are people, we have two types of politicians at the moment, the politicians in power and the politicians waiting to get to power. The politicians in power, the moment they get out of power, they don't have any other job to do. They just go on the sideline, on the touchline, and just wait for their turn again to come back to power. These are the kind of youth we have now. These are the kind of politicians we have now. But in 1999, it was not even like that. In 1999, we had some of the guys that came into power, exception of the person like James Bode that I mentioned earlier, you know, who ran away from the UK, you know, back to Nigeria, you know, to become governor and all that, also that. But the rest were actually home guys, you know. Some of them were barristers, some of them were businessmen, like Abubakar Rimi, who was the governor of Kano State then, you know. I know a whole lot of them at the time, you know. So I feel like whether it is, oh, this is an opportunity, and this is a position I've never seen in my life. So, and they get to power and it just got to their head. I don't know where it is, you know. So it was an opportunity we had that we never used. And rather than that period to translate into a better future for Nigeria, it is actually getting worse. Because I tell you what, when you have so much access to power, there are two things that can destroy a man: power and money. These two things, is the availability of these two is overwhelming in Nigeria. You have power in Nigeria and you have money. In the UK, you have power, you don't have access to the money. So your power cannot give you the money because there are a lot of chains for you to access the money in this country, right? But in Nigeria, that is not the case. The case in Nigeria is you have the power and you have the money. And when you have access to these two things, I will quote Nelson Mandela, who says that absolute power is what corrupts absolutely. When you have so much power and you have so much money, it is enough to corrupt you. And I think that was what got to some of these politicians then, and rather than to serve Nigeria, they see themselves, rather than to see themselves as servants, they see themselves as I'm not as someone who just got the opportunity to get to power and dictate to people what he should do. That is why you see in Nigeria, a governor will construct road and people will gather to go and say thank you to the governor. And this is a governor who is doing his primary responsibility. It is only in Nigeria that I have seen that a governor will pay salaries, and it is on social media, people are applauding the governor for paying salary.
Which is a normal thing to do.
Which is a responsibility. You are supposed to be thanking them, giving them their salary even. I mean, in this country, we see, nobody, when you work here, you get your pay. And that is why in this country, I'm talking about the UK, that is why you see that the taxpayers, they can easily confront an MP or their local councillor, because they know that we elected you to serve us, and it's not the other way around. But in Nigeria, we elected them to torment us.
Wow. So
now this is the thing. The kinds of youth we have now, like the last time the other time we had a conversation, one of the guests on the program said that if you are not disciplined in your private life, you cannot be disciplined when you get to power. Those mentors, the people who should mentor the youth of today, they are the people who have brought Nigeria to where it is today. This is why they cannot differentiate between mentoring and godfatherism. They have misplaced mentoring and godfatherism. In other words, when they are mentoring you, they are also telling you that whatever you become today, it is because of me. For that reason, you must remain a slave to me forever, as long as. And the moment you try to object that, then there will be rancor.
Okay, thank you for that. I think you've explained it very well, my colleague.
Yeah, sorry, quickly before, I just want to check again if my friend and my brother Ugo is there now.
Yeah, I'm here. Good evening, everyone. I'm here. I'm listening and learning from all of you.
So quickly, I just want let me quickly introduce my brother. I tell you what, this guy is. I say this all the time, and I'm not even saying this because he's a friend. He's someone that I met on social media. But I tell you what, the relationship between myself and Ugo is beyond social media as it is. He's one of those Nigerians, that he has distinguished himself in terms of what he knows, in terms of what his belief about Nigeria. And this man is someone who has fought for, is always be fighting for Nigeria. I can tell you that for free. He's always been fighting for Nigeria. He is a professional. He describes himself as someone with an undying quest for quality results. Can you beat that? That is the kind of person he is. And of course, when I spoke to him to come and share with us what he feels about youth involvement in Nigeria, what he said to me was, he said, listen, I've said it over and over and over again, and it seems that it is not getting into the ears of anyone. I don't want to say again. I say, no, you cannot stop talking. You can't stop saying, because we don't have two countries to call ours. We have only one country to call our own. He's currently in Netherlands, and he's doing greatly well. As you can see in his picture, he's enjoying life. So Ugo, we are happy to have you this evening on with us. Thank you very much for joining us.
Sorry, is it me that is being described in those glowing times? Ordinary man, yeah, we just manage.
And again, I want to also introduce my friend Adejo Onalo. Adejo, can you hear me? If you can hear me, if you can hear me, please. Yeah. This man is another very, very, very good friend of mine. We've been friends for almost 20 years now, right? Yeah, over 20 years now. We went to the same secondary school from GSS1 until we finished from secondary school, and we've been friends since then. And of course, we finished secondary school, over 20 years ago, actually, So, and I'm happy he's with us tonight. Thank you very much for joining us, Adejo. Yeah, Deji, take over from there if you want.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, our guest, for joining us tonight. We really appreciate your presence here.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we'll come over to you just in a minute, because I think Leye was raising up his hand the other time to shed some light into what we're talking about.
Yeah, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, I was just I think one thing that just came up to my mind, after Doctor and Oscar was talking, I something about commercialized. Is our politics in Nigeria commercialized? And what I mean by that is that to become a politician in Nigeria, to become a successful politician in Nigeria, you need to bring money. You need to show the people money. Now, how do you get that money? You either work for it yourself, or you have someone that is giving you money to go and front for them. So I think that is not the case abroad here, because you wouldn't need money to get people to vote for you. You do, because you get sponsors, but the sponsor is sponsoring the party, rather than sponsoring you individually. So I think this commercialization, if the right people are supported, the right youths are brought together and supported, I think the chances are there, because I don't know. I'm just it's just this commercializing of politics, I think, is something that needs to be eliminated for us to have an headway. And another thing I was going to talk about as well, just mention, is this youth thing. We're talking about youth. I think the youths, or the older ones, they need to complement each other. I don't think one is better than the other. I think you need the experience and you need the youths as well. So it needs to kind of complement each other. And when we start saying maybe the youth should take over, I don't think that's the best, because the experience is always needed as well from the older ones that have been through it. Again, I'm just saying it there, if we have any, just
okay. Okay, I think our brother is raising up his hand. I don't know if you want to contribute to what Leye just said. Go ahead, sir.
You're muted.
Yeah. I think you're muted at the moment. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah. My name is Daniel.
Okay.
So I share the same name with my friend in the UK. And my being here is my desire to see a better Nigeria. We are beginning to lose platforms for this kind of discussion over time. We only told you that we are friends. We never told you that we disagree on a lot of things, but that doesn't mean we are not progressive.
Yeah.
You understand? The idea is to see a better Nigeria. So that being said, my name is Daniel. I'm in Nigeria here. I work with one of the consulting firms, KPMG. I have listened to most of the things that were said. I agree, and then I have an opinion. You understand? I can't wake up today and say youth should take over. You know why I will not do that? My friend and I come from a state in Nigeria, Kogi State, where we have a useful governor that is not doing very well. In the same vein, I will also not advocate that the old should continue leading us, because whatever quagmire we are in right now, they have a lot to do with it. But am I a Nigerian? Yes. Do I love this country? Yes. Do I want it to progress? Yes. So I have to find a common ground. You understand? So like everything human, we have the past, we have the present. With these two concrete data, we can predict the future. You understand? I don't look at 99 as 99 wasn't a Hail Mary for Nigeria. Rather, 99 was a settlement scheme. Abiola had died. There were so many suspicion and other politicians.
I think the network is in it.
I think the network is gone.
I think the network is gone. Maybe
Yeah.
we should go to Mr. Ugo.
Yeah, he was making a very good point there before.
That's right.
Before the network go like that. Yeah. So okay. While we wait for him to come back, I want to pass the baton to Ugo. Mr. Ugo, please.
He's back on.
Okay.
Oh, he's gone.
Okay, so I would like to ask Mr. Ugo, please. Ugo, tell us, what do you think about youth involvement in Nigerian politics?
I would like to say good evening, everyone, once again. It's for me, I don't really think it's a youth or adults thing. Because if you flash your mind back to the military era, you will find out that almost everyone who ruled Nigeria, I use the word rule advisedly because they didn't lead. Everyone who ruled Nigeria were youths. Yakubu Gowon was just about 40 or less, if I'm not mistaken. Obasanjo was around that age range too, in 76 when he came on board. The likes of the current president, when he had his first shot at power in 83, 84, he was also very young. Same applied to IBB and Abacha. So you find that it's not necessarily about being young. It's about what you have inside you, capacity. Leadership requires capacity, character, and competence. And if those three C's are missing, like we said, you can't give what you don't have. So the youths, the people we call youths today, like I was sharing with you earlier, no square. If you discuss deep things with them, you will lose them. But if you discuss, sorry, without sounding condescending, if you discuss some silly topics, you just see them, you know, if you talk about big brother, whatever they call it, they will even put their money, they will be there discussing, arguing and all those crap, you know, but bring them to come and talk about what will help them, what will save their future and save the future of their children, you lose them. You know, they'll prefer to shout and chant, but again, talking about solution, I'm sorry to disappoint some of you. I don't really think it's very easy now. Someone mentioned 99. Maybe 99, maybe there could have been some sort of a light at the end of the tunnel. What I mean is this. We had gotten tired of the military era and we wanted to move forward. Then came the promise of democracy, which of course for me is also another misplaced system of government. I'll tell you why. Naturally in Africa, our system of government is monarchy. Our system of governance is monarchy. We go through the kings to get things done. Now we have adopted democracy from the West, and we're trying to build it on top of that monarchy. So what we have is I don't know how to, for those of you that went to school, you can help me. Democracy or monarchy, whatever it's called. Because really, we need to define exactly what we want and who we are. If you don't define who we are, where we're going, then everywhere will look like the road to it. Electoral reform, very, very important. If we don't reform the electoral system in Nigeria, I was sharing with you earlier, Oscar, a country where for you to, with all your brilliant ideas, everybody here is old enough to be president of Nigeria. And everybody here is old enough to be president of any country. I mean, France is just close to me here, but not far from us here. The president is younger than me. But he's a president of a very big country. I mean, a great country, one of the big countries of the world. And I know that all of us are coming, if you come out from Nigeria, you can survive anywhere. So we can do great stuff anywhere. But unfortunately, the system stifles you. You have good ideas, very good content. You share with these guys in politics, and they won't welcome it. What they want is, okay, you come. Let's use your head to make money. So they sponsor you because for you, I told those quite earlier, if you want to contest to become a senator in Nigeria today, you will have at least 1 billion somewhere. Because you throw money around. You have night meetings. You go to meet godfathers, and because for us, we're still young and we don't have such money. So at the end of the day, you will now have to still rely on these guys who have stolen money from the system. And when they sponsor you into politics, they are giving you conditions. They're telling you have to, I'm telling you, I've experienced this. I was supposed to be made a commissioner in my state. And when they began to tell me things I will have to, I say me to become commissioner. So people, at the end of the day, people now come and say, I don't be that one where they preach. Look at him now. I said, I think I'll beg you, I'm not interested. You can't believe, with due respect to my late mom, she even had to tell me, hey, just go and do it now. So that I say, do what you do. You want to, it's not, my hand is not there. People just want to let you get into something they know it's going to destroy you. People don't value their integrity. So the system, for youth to even have a shot at governance, first, there has to be a reformation of that electoral process. Make it affordable for the youths. It's not just about saying we are youths, we can come in, we have ideas. It's about, do we also have the resources to follow through? Because if you don't have the resources, you still have to depend on these guys. That was what happened in 1999. Let me now take us back to 99. Babangida came on board 85, and he was stealing money. At some point, people realized that he was stealing a lot of money. He now began to also let other people steal. So he was sharing what he was stealing with others. So as he was sharing the loot, money entered wrong hands. I don't want to mention names now, but there are a lot of politicians that we know that came on board in 99. Like people that we call money misroad. Money going into their hand during IBB. So they used that money to come into governance in 1999. And they've been the ones running the system since then. If you flash your mind back, you know what I'm saying. They've been the one controlling the system because they got a lot of money under IBB. So now, even after they did their 8 years term, they now began to determine who goes in after them. And they ensure that they also choose the senators, they choose the ministers, they choose the local government chairman. So they are completely in charge. And apart from that also, they also get into some diabolical things. So it's a system that for you to go in is like, you're just going to face the devil. It's either you are killed or you survive. So we have to get that into our head. That's the reality of Nigerian politics. And then ask me, when somebody sponsors you into governance and gives you condition, at the end of the day, what are you going to achieve? You become subservient to the person. 4 years, you are still paying. We have had a case of a governor being abducted in the States. I think that was Chris Ngige that time. That was around 2003 or so. He was kidnapped by his quote unquote godfathers. So it's complicated. And right now, the system is even in a deeper mess because there's hunger, there's insecurity. Those things has become, becoming like a way of life. So people have made it an industry. People now make money from a bad situation. So so I'm trying to make us understand what is facing us. I'm not trying to paint a gloomy picture. I want us to understand, okay, this is what the reality is. This is what we are confronting. This is what we are looking at. This is what we are trying to attack. And then by the time we're able to understand all this, and then when I look at ourselves and say, can we take on this problem? Why I was telling you earlier is that I've gotten tired is because the average Nigerian person, of course, wants to survive, and it's not, you can't blame them. You can't blame them. The system has so beaten people down. And then the people in politics are not also ready to leave power. You see, some of the people come out from governorship, they go to Senate, from Senate, they go to minister. Just like someone said, they are like, this one, they are waiting on the wings. So you just pass the baton to me as you're finishing up my mentoring. So you see, it's a very deep mess that we found ourselves in. And how did we get here? If you flash back to even the beginning of the country, 1960, they were supposed to make Ahmadu Bello the prime minister. But somehow the man refused to leave the Northern Caliphate and some issues here and there. They had to bring in somebody at the dying minutes. Tafawa Balewa made him the prime minister. He was not prepared for it. And then before they could say Jack Robinson, 1966, first coup, the people that handled the coup could not even, the things didn't go well. And they brought in somebody who was not prepared, Agu Ironsi, and made him head of state unpreparedly. While down was he trying to settle scores and everything, other people came and hit him down, brought in Gowon, unprepared also. Take it to 75, when the Gowon was sick, taken out, they brought in Murtala Muhammad. Murtala Muhammad would have been able to do something, but he had a lot of complications here and there. Before he knew what was happening, they took him out also. Obasanjo was even running. He said he didn't want to become head of state. They say he must be. They forced it on him unpreparedly. In 79, he conducted an election because he wanted to run away from power. And then Shagari was going for Senate. He was just going for Senate. And Obasanjo brought him, made him president, unprepared. He did first tenure, second tenure. As he was entering second tenure, Buhari, these people came and did coup. Buhari was just where they brought him and made him head of state, unprepared also. While that one was he trying to, before you know it, Bangida came. So you see, it's been like this. NS came on board unprepared. From there, Abacha came from nowhere, took him out unprepared. Abacha died without preparing, without knowing he was going to die. The other man, what's his name? Abdul Salam took over unprepared because he wasn't supposed to be the next in line. I think it was Jeremiah Hosseini that was supposed to be next in line, but they had to bring
Jeremiah
Abdul Salam He was not prepared for power. And then he became this thing. From nowhere, Obasanjo was in prison. They brought him out from prison. Instead of him to say, let me go arrest him in my outer house. So they went to Jos. If you remember that Jos Convention 1998, they went to Jos, decided for Obasanjo, and then they brought him and made him president, unprepared.
In compensation for the death of
Abiola's.
Can you imagine?
Yes.
Trading the country.
Yes, and then they made him president unprepared. The man did first tenor. Thing became sweet. He did second tenor. He became sweet. He wanted to do third tenor. We said no. He said, okay, Tinship will say no. I'll give you somebody who is almost going. He brought Yar'Adua. Brilliant man. Say give it to him. Brilliant man, very intelligent and very, very well, good-hearted man. Unfortunately, health failed him. And then from unprepared, somebody who had no shoe became president. And you see, this has been this case. The only person who I would say was supposed to be prepared, because he ran 4 times before he eventually became president, is the incumbent president. Unfortunately, maybe old age, maybe, I don't know, maybe he just simply doesn't have it. So you see, the country has been going from one unprepared hand to another since 1960. So we didn't just get here today. It's been like this. The same number of roads we have in 1980 when we were like 70 million people, at the same number of roads we have today, we have over 200 million population. So you see that we have not actually moved. We've not made progress because we don't plan. There's no place for planning. There's no place for creativity. Hard work is out of the line. People don't think about hard work. People just want to come out from school today and begin to ride Bentley tomorrow. People don't want to grow. The youths that we're talking about are these youths that believe that Yahoo is a career. You know, these are youths that believe that once a girl has big yash, then it's okay. Those things are, you don't see people discussing deep things. So frugality is not in our government because they just throw money around. They're not frugal. Altruism, which is supposed to be a major characteristic of leaders. You go into leadership to serve, not to be served. In our situation, it's not the same. Then, respect for rule of law. The law only works when the poor people are involved. Respect for right and obligation. These are will I say, principles upon which nations are built. Unfortunately, as it is right now, it's become really complicated. Now, unfortunately, I think Buhari also allowed things to slip off his hands. Because if he had, I suggested when he came on, but I said this Baba should just go across the states of the country. Some words can be very powerful. In the Second World War, during the Second World War, Winston Churchill used words to galvanize, young chaps in the UK to be able to stand and fight for their country. And that was the only reason why Hitler could not conquer the United Kingdom. Hitler could not overrun the UK because they had a man who was speaking the right words. So as a leader, when you open your mouth, you should open your mouth with wisdom. Unfortunately, Baba just talks. And for every time he talks, you just say, Baba, if I just no talk. Because once he talks, things just get out of hand again. So as a leader, he must know how to use words to heal, to bring together, to bond, to unite. Unfortunately, he could not do that. So the youths have practically lost hope. So for us to have them coming back to believe again in the country, to believe again that something can come out of this, we can call this our own, can all come and put our hands on deck and build. we must first show them there's hope for this country, because they've lost hope. That's just the truth. They've lost hope. An average young person here tell you things that they are planning for the next 10, 20, 40 years. But in Nigeria, there's no Nigerian dream. So what are they? What is Nigerian dream? Maybe you can tell me, Oscar. Guys, you can educate me. I don't know Nigerian dream. So what are we pursuing? What do we have in focus? These are things you want to show the youths first before you can get them to believe. But it's not all gloomy, like I said. If you can revolve the electoral system, if possible, get the NOS, that's the Nigerian National Orientation Agency, NOAA, get them to begin to speak the right words. Then get the ones in governance today. Governance, there's no governance in Nigeria. The people in government, get them, if possible, to begin to see that if we all do the right thing, everybody wins. Nobody will lose if we do the right thing. I mean, they've stolen enough money already. So let them even try to begin to do things, put things in place for these youths. Give them a future, give them hope. You will see Nigerian youths can fight. Nigeria, it doesn't take anything to impress Nigerian youths. So give them good roads now. Give them electricity. They are fine. They begin to sing your praise. So do those small things and then see them believing in the country again. And then before you know it, they put their hands on, they can build a nation.
Thank you very, 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 very much. That is actually a very fine place to live it. I mean, you've spoken a lot, and you've said so much. The last part of it, because like I said before you joined us, our focus on this platform is solution. We are actually on a solution journey, and having spoken to the length you spoke, I mean, the last part of your conversation, for those who are watching this evening and the rest of us who are very hopeful, you dropped a message for us there, and one of the things you said that really got to me is the word from our mouth goes a long way. I mean, say the right thing, and you get the people, involved again. And as a leader, that is very, 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 very important. Getting the national orientation, because at some point, it feels like there is no national orientation in Nigeria. Basically, it's just like a position where somebody just get to power, just to get to a position and start making his own money and move on. That's why there are a lot of false information everywhere, and there is no direction, no dream, like you said, But this is the time to chart a way forward, and let's know what is the dream for an average Nigerian, what is there for a Nigerian to look up to, what is there for a Nigerian to think about, basically. Thank you very much, Ugo. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I wanted you to come and speak to us, and of course, you done justice to that our topic tonight. Our time is actually fast spent already. I don't know, Deji, you want to say this one or two things?
Honestly, I'm just being real. I'm short of words because what Mr. Ugo just said, shedding light into what we know that obviously is existing already. I'm just thinking that is there a way forward, and that's kind of like an honest question for me. When we're talking about youth getting involved with all these things that Mr. Ugo said, which obviously we're fully aware of, but we're just not thinking about the magnitude. Is there a way forward? Reforming the electoral process. Who are the people that will do it? Are they ready to do it? So if you're looking at all that, you'll be thinking that, wow, what's going on? And if you look at our youth of today, just like Mr. Ugo said, what they think about now is Big Brother, honestly. Do you understand? If you're talking about the way forward for our dear country, Nigeria, they can't be bothered, Even the NSAS that we did last year, it wasn't, as far as that is just my personal opinion, because there was no leader. It seems like there was no direction, and the reason why it wasn't successful. So can we say now, should we channel that same power or effort we used for SARS into getting involved in politics? I don't know, maybe that's the way forward, I don't know. But just like Osquare said, we can't keep quiet because it's still our dear country. We just have to be finding solutions. It's either you keep quiet or you get involved. You understand? So honestly, if we have to start thinking about our dear country, Nigeria, it's very discouraging. I mean, I'm just saying it, honestly. But we just have to keep on doing what we can do. So on that basis, I would just like to say, I think one of the points is reorientation. I read it, one of the comments. And, that's what we need to. And just like another comment that says reformation of the electoral process, which Mr. Ugo also mentioned, that's from our dear Buki Opanachi, So, so having said that, I think I will just pass the baton over to Dr. Aminu. But I think we should just carry on doing what we can do. I think that's the way forward instead of keeping quiet, Yeah.
If I can just quickly add one thing, talking about way forward, I think the 1999 Constitution has to be revisited and possibly be, in fact, it's not even a function of amending itself, it should even be scrapped completely. Because first of all, that Constitution is a lie. I have a copy here. The first thing it says is we the people. We the people. I don't know where me and you sat down to have input in that Constitution. The Constitution was given to us. We did not have input to it. And I also think there has to be, I mean, when you now repeal you change the Constitution, you'll not be able to integrate some of these ideas of how to get it, because whatever we're going to do have to be through the law. And if the Constitution is not in support of it, then it's just mere activity. It's not going anywhere. So it's important for us to think of how to push to get the Constitution to be changed, to capture, to create, to pave way for the youth to be able to come into. I mean, I see young people in the UK who come in, they run for election and they win, pure, clean, without having to go to, bow down for godfathers, for them to take them to shrine to go and swear to things. I also think the education system has to be changed. The Nigeria education system is, we don't have education in Nigeria. I'm sorry to say. People need to be taught well. People's minds need to be reformed. When they come out from school, you know that they have gone through school and they've been shaped to make contribution to the society. So I think the education system has to be changed. Very, very important, because it's what people have that they give, And if it's possible to make it free and compulsory, at least up to the basic secondary school, quality education, not just that you just wear uniform and go somewhere. Quality education, because it helps the minds, and also there you're teaching them to see the country as theirs, because they're the ones who will come out. Because if you want to know the future of any country, look at the young people. What they're discussing shows you where the country is going. So I think it's important for us to look at this constitutional reform, electoral reform, education. It can't be overemphasized.
That's right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ogo.
Thank you, sir.
That's really, really insightful, because one thing that stood out for me, it's because all this thing we've said, most of them are like government-based solutions. So I want to look at it from the angle of a common man, because I believe we can still do things. Because if we want to put it on the government has failed us so much.
Yeah.
I know they're that powerful. But one of the things that I think that you said that stood out for me is because of reorientation. Yeah. Because we really need to change the orientation of our youth. You spoke about things like Big Brother, things that make them is all this gossip. Maybe one celebrity has done that one and the other one. They talk about nonsense. When you go on social media, sometimes I'm just going to hold my head up like, what are we doing? So when we have programs like that, like what we have now, teaching people to say in short, we need a reset in the way we think, because our thinking is so poor. which is an education. So when people don't believe there's anything wrong in what's happening in Nigeria, what they see politics as a sector of making money. You understand? Everyone is on the line waiting for who to sponsor them. Even when you get the youth going to elections, they have all these godfathers sponsoring them. They just want to go there, make their money, get out. So everyone is on the queue. And like the reforms, we need to find out and see, okay, can we make this, like the forms are very expensive. A common man cannot even afford it. That's the truth. And you just say something like, you need at least $1 billion. I think 1 billion is too small to even contest for Senate because the rate at which Naira is going down, it's nothing, because by the time you spread to 1 or 2 people, not to talk about the killings and the killings and a whole lot of it. So I think I would really suggest that orientation. People need to understand what we are losing by not imputing into our system. We need to focus on what's important, because we like to major on the minor, minor on the major. We are more interested in social media gossips. We are more interested in the celebrities talking who's dating who and who's not dating who. But all these things, these people are literally making money for themselves. Don't get me wrong, it's an entertainment. But we need to know as a people. So which is why we have people like you guys coming in to speak about things like this, so that we can send our message out to people on the street there to see that they have to come as a people and gradually start until it gets to the government. But we owe ourselves that by telling our people, telling our children, our families, and hopefully it's not going to be a quick fix, but we'll get there at some point. So yeah, thank you very much. So I think we have Mr. Audu on board here. If you would like to introduce yourself, sir, if you can hear us. You're on mute.
You're on mute, sir.
Yes. Thank you very much. And I'm glad to be here. My name is Audu Ibrahim Ali. I'm from Kogi State.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, bros. I mean, I call him bros. I mean, he is an older brother to me, and I've always been a very good brother, a younger brother to him also. He's actually a lecturer in Federal Polytechnic either, and we're happy to have him join us this evening. Even though you're joining us while we're almost rounding up, we just want to give you 1 minute to give those your lecturing thoughts on the topic we are discussing tonight. We're actually talking about youth involvement in Nigerian politics. What do you think is the barrier, the limit to youth involvement in Nigeria, and what do you think we can do to get more youth in Nigerian politics in 2 minutes, sir?
Thank you very much. Straight to the point. We, with sincerity of purpose, we actually lost it long before now, and there will be need for us completely, the youth completely, at this moment, to have an attitudinal change towards issues. Complete attitudinal change, attitude of the mind, and the environment. You know, our perception towards life is totally different. And it actually cuts across all geopolitical zones. When we have issues to deal with that is of national interest, quite a number of us decide to bring in regional politics into it. Why do I say regional politics? We'll be looking at how best we can acquire or attract riches to ourselves, to our region, instead of thinking the content of Nigeria, instead of thinking about Nigeria as a whole. We lost it from the moment where we actually embrace these money bags individuals, celebrating them from left and right. Now, funny enough, the youth of nowadays, if you look at us completely, look at people completely, and look at the division, you will discover that at the moment you start making money, you start acquiring wealth, the youth who have a grand movement, living where they are and what they are supposed to do, what they are supposed to think about Nigeria, and move to an individual who has this wealth to throw around. And that consciousness is a very terrible one. That acceptance is a very bad one. We need to change it totally. We need to start thinking from our domain, what is the best thing for us? What do we think we can do to change ourselves, to change our environment? I will share a story with you. It's a very funny one, but there'll be need for us to hear this. Consciously, I live in a neighborhood. I'm from a ward. I live within a neighborhood where that is densely populated. And within my domain, then way back, I have this toddler that I usually send on errand. At any point in time that I send her on errand, I do give her money, a little tips. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah. Keep the thing. I did that for about 2 or 3 weeks there. At a point, and I realized that why am I doing this? Our joy when we're growing up is for people to send us on errands so that we'll go out there to explore, to look at other areas other than our area, to see what is new. So I now stopped doing that. I called her one day. I said, go and buy me something. She went. The other time I did the same thing. She did. I think about the fourth time, I called her. She kept quiet and she was just looking at me from the distance. So something at me from the distance. I said, why? I said, come get it. He said, no. I said, you send somebody that you not give somebody money. So you can see the perception. In Nigeria now, they don't want to know. Presently, they don't want to know either you want to bring a very good idea, a fabulous one. If you like, empty your brain to the table. They don't want to know. What they want to know is, do you have the money to throw around? And that completely has changed the narrative. It's a thing that we should look at, and from time to time, where necessary, from school to school. In time, we can start from primary schools. We can bring this consciousness back if we really want to do that. Thank you very much. And I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
It is quite it's a short one, but it's mind-boggling. I mean, I don't know about other people, but the analogy you gave to us about the child that you send me on errand and the tip and all that, it gives me this kind of, I don't know what to say, but I just feel like this is exactly the mentality we have currently in Nigeria. That nothing goes for nothing. The mentality of nothing goes for nothing, and it has even gone down to that level of a child believing in nothing goes for nothing. And hopefully with the reorientation,
money has to be involved.
Money has to, with the reorientation back to primary school. I think that's what Ugo said. I would need to go back to primary school level and change this orientation. What we are canvassing for today, the Nigeria we are hoping now might not be Nigeria that we will enjoy as it is, because from what you said, if a girl of that age will now have the mentality of nothing goes for nothing, imagine what she becomes when she turns 18, when she becomes of that age where she can vote or when she can be voted for. I don't want to think too deep. Thank you so much, guys. I mean, I don't know, Deji, you want to round up for us?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing much to say. Thank you very much to our guest for joining us tonight. Really appreciate your time. And thank you so much. We are not taking it for granted. We'd love to have you back anyway.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And Mr. Ibrahim Hali. So if you don't mind, we'd like to reach out to you again. So, and for you to come online and give us some insightful words. So, but I think we are rounding up now, but before we go, just to my colleague as well, Leye, just to say one or two statements, then we are done for the night. Thank you.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, I think clearly, I think the knowledge here today, it's just been phenomenal. It's just next level. And I think when you have this much knowledge of saying things, we know what we think we know what the problem is. I think it's the first big step to the solution. So, and I think Nigeria as a country, I think one thing I hope people would agree with me is that Nigeria were very prayerful. Okay, so we know the problem, we pray, and I'll say hopefully the right things will start coming in place for the country.
Yeah.
Well, just to add, because I know despite what's been happening, I just want to say Happy Independence Day to all of us.
Yes, tomorrow.
As it's still Nigeria, we're 61, and happy birthday to Nigeria because we still believe in Nigeria. And I want to thank every one of you. I'm so blessed to share this space with you all. I've learned so much, and I believe the people at home too have learned from this experience, and we intend to carry on doing this. So we'll be inviting you guys anytime soon. Feel free to join us anytime. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ugo. I mean, I sincerely appreciate joining us. I mean, you just came back from work, and even at that, you find time to join us. Thank you so much. We appreciate your joining this evening. Thank you so much, Big Bro Aldo. I mean, we appreciate your presence, even though it was short, but it was very impactful. Please, I want to specifically, personally, crave your indulgence to join us again in our next section, which is going to be in 2 weeks from now. Please, okay. I will remind you before that time. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so much. Good night to everyone. Thank you.
All right. Good night. All right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, guys. Bye.